back on the grind.
Sayonara!
When the going gets rough, rough gets tough. Clear the drop zone! Tactical nuke incoming! Sit down. Roll over. Now play dead. NANI?! Yay! Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Enemy contact! Nope.
Well, hello everyone. In this video, I will tell you guys the guide, tips and trick of playing the leader of Brawl Star Galaxy Team Star Force, Colonel Ruff. Ruff is a mythical support brawler who have the ability to drop boxes of supplies that can increase the stats of the Ruff and his teammates. Ruff is also armed with a double-barrel laser gun as his main weapon. For normal player, they only see Ruff as the one of the support brawler who have a really low pick rate, and even have the lowest win rate from all brawler in Brawl Star. But for some player who main this brawler and understand how to play him, Ruff's role is not just a support brawler. For them, including me, his role can also be a marksman or damage dealer and a controller. You guys don't believe me? It's okay, with watching this guide, I'm sure you guys will understand more on how to play this brawler correctly and see his real potential. That's enough with the introduction. Now it's time for me to explain his abilities, starting from his normal attack, super, gadget, star power, and also predict his hypercharge for the upcoming update. Ruff normal attack, double barrel laser. Ruff fire two lasers simultaneously parallel to each other. They can bounce off the wall and increasing their range further. Similar to Rico's attack, each laser bounce is independent of the other. While Rico normal attack playstyle is more like run and gun, Ruff normal attack playstyle is more like pick shooting. What does that mean? So on Rico run and gun playstyle, Rico fire his bouncing ball while running to reach the target and cover more areas that hard to reach with a straight attack with the help of the surrounding walls. Meanwhile, Ruff can use one of his two parallel lasers to pick shooting out of the cover. For those of you guys who don't know what pick shooting is when you wiggle your body or character out of cover just enough to open fire with your weapon. This is usually done in FPS games. Rico can use this technique because his multiple bouncing ball projectile, but Ruff can't. Ruff normal attack is also a little bit snappy, so you need a really good accuracy to use it. Try to aim it and don't use auto attack except for very close range. And also, when trying to bounce his double barrel laser, you need to calculate the direction and distance to bounce to hit the target. Meanwhile, Rico normal attack didn't need to do that, just shoot randomly at the wall and let the bounce do the rest. That's why Rico normal attack is way much easier to use than Ruff normal attack. But for those who already mastered Ruff normal attack, from calculate his bounce laser, mastered the pick shooting technique, and mastered his aim to land both of his double parallel laser, Ruff can deal a very big damage and can corner every opponent who try to hide from him. You can also mix between bouncing the laser gun and pick shooting technique to make it difficult for your opponent to predict your attack. Now you know how his normal attack really works. Next, let me explain about his super. Ruff super, supply drop. Ruff throw a mark to cause down a supply drop that damage and knock back any opponent who stand above it, and leave a power up for teammate and himself to pick up. The power-up increases their attack damage and maximum HP. But this power-up only can pick once for every teammate, including Ruff himself. And also, when using the super again when there is already power-up on the field, the power-up that currently on the field will get removed and make a new one. And the power-up buff will disappear when Ruff or his teammate are defeated. And when Ruff or his teammate pick up the power-up, they will glow a pinkish purple tone. It's different from damage gear visual, power drink visual, or even an active visual Hypercharge. Many players have trouble hitting opponent using this super, and prefer to use this super to drop near them just to grab the power-up or destroy a certain wall by using a star power, which we will discuss later in the video. But will you guys believe me if I said this super, a super that a lot of players said is very difficult to hit an opponent, can actually counter a lot of assassin class brawler? Can believe it, right? You're lucky to watch this guide video. Don't forget to share this video to your Brawl Stars friends or club, because I will show you how you can counter almost assassin class brawler using this super. First thing you need to know is don't go approach them, let them come to you instead. Sounds like every assassin class will do, especially an assassin brawler like Mortis, Fang, Edgar, Buzz, and many more. It also includes a short range brawler like El Primo, Bull, and many more. All you need to do is to predict their movement when they coming to you. For the example, for Fang, you need to predict his super when he's charging at you, and then use Ruffs super directly under yourself right before Fang coming to you. That way, Fang will take damage from the super and be knocked back away from you. Just make sure when with teammates, you are the last target from Fang's super chain attack. After that, since Fang is get knocked back from Ruffs super, you can use auto aim to deal more damage to him. You can use the same methods against Edgar, Buzz, and many more, including short range brawler. For Edgar, use Ruffs super directly under yourself when Edgar use super, jump, and lands on you. And the next scenario will be the same as before. For Buzz, use Ruffs super directly under yourself when Buzz use super and locks on you. But for Buzz, make sure you don't get stunned first from Buzz super. And also, when performing this trick, when you use Ruffs super directly under him, try not to running away from the super area, because a lot of players unconsciously doing this when performing this trick. This is very important to remember, especially when your opponent is Mortis. Unlike the other three before, they already lock themselves to you while performing their super, so it's okay even though you're running away from Ruffs super unconsciously. There's still a good chance for them to get hit by Ruffs super area. But for Mortis, he can move freely, especially with his normal attack to approaching you and not really depend on his super. You can use the same trick like before to Mortis too, but sometimes a good Mortis player can dodge the super with Mortis normal attack. And the result is between Mortis got hit by Ruffs super, or he will retreat using his normal attack and it will stop him from coming to you, due his normal attack ammo is used up for escaping from Ruff area. And that's not the only tips and trick from Ruffs super. There's still some tips about Ruffs super that related to his star power, and I'll tell you the next tips and trick in the next section. And the next section is talking about Ruffs star power. Ruff first star power, Air Superiority. This star power increases Ruffs super damage when hit an opponent, and the falling supply drop can destroy wall under it. It's similar as Dynamic super, but with smaller area. With this star power on Brawl Ball, now you can destroy the wall that's blocking the goal, and connect with a kick towards the wall right before it's destroyed by Ruffs super. With that, the enemy can block the kick as they will bounce off from Ruffs super, and will open up the space for the ball to score a goal. You also can use this trick with some brawler that have a super that can destroy a wall and have a knockback, so they can follow up for the kick to the goal, like Dynamite, Shelly, Chester with his Candy Popper super, Pearl, Ruff with his Air Superiority star power, and many more. This trick can work for this brawler because two things, destroy walls and knockback. But every brawler I mentioned have a different way to perform this trick. Like before, for Ruff, you need to use his super first and follow up with a kick to that wall right before it destroyed, so it can be blocked by the opponent. Dynamic and Chester also use the same step, but Chester needs his Candy Popper super first. All of that goes back to your timing in doing this trick. If it's too fast, the ball will bounce back because the wall hasn't had time to be destroyed. If it's too slow, the enemy may come back to block the kick. Okay, that's all about Brawl Ball trick. Back to Ruff's star power. There is still more. Not only this star power can make Ruff super destroy a wall, but with the bonus damage from his super with the previous trick to counter assassin class brawler, not only you can counter them with this super, but with this star power, you can also mic turn the table against the assassin with the extra super damage. Now into the second star power. Ruff's second star power, field promotion. If you want to play support role on Ruff, this star power is for you and only work with team. So this star power is useless on solo showdown, the worst mode ever made, with a lot of campers, teaming, and a random cartoon cat jumps on you in that mode. Ruff increases all his teammate maximum HP on small to medium radius around him every second. This doesn't apply to Ruff himself, and if any affected teammate got eliminated, their max HP is reset back to their normal max HP. And remember my words, this star power is very good when you're playing with friends that you know, because you can trust them, but not for playing with random, unless the random are playing really well, which is a very rare to happen. And also, to maximize the performance of this star power, a really good mode to use this star power is knockout mode. Well, you can also use this on any other mode except solo showdown, but I think it's not a good idea, because you and your teammate can die more often in the other mode. On knockout mode, if you play to waste time until the green cloud comes, this star power is really good to keep increasing your teammate's max HP, especially if your teammate play a tank class brawler. That's all about Ruff's star power. Now, it's time to explain about his gadget. Ruff's first gadget, Tech Cover. Ruff spawns 3 mobile sandbags in inverted triangle formation around him as a protection, and the sandbag block non-piercing or bouncing splitting projectile from opponent attack. And if the opponent use auto-aim, the auto-aim will prioritize Ruff first over the sandbags. If Ruff plays other sandbags gadget, the initial ones will despawn for the new one. Simply a defensive gadget to protect Ruff from the opponent attack, and this gadget is useless against brawler who have a strike to attack, like Sandy, Tara, Bibi, and other. And need to remember that sandbag formation is inverted triangle. That means one on the top or front left, one on the top or front right, and the last one right behind Ruff. That means a straight vertical attack can still hit Ruff directly when that happens. What you need to do is move to the left, to the right, or behind, right behind the sandbag you place. And also the sandbag HP can be affected by Ruff max HP. That means if Ruff collect his super power up or a power box and his max HP is increased, the HP for his sandbag gadget is also increased a little. You can also use this gadget to counter a homing projectile like Nani Super Peep and Tick Super Explosive Head. The way to do it is, you need to know where is the projectile coming from. If it's from the right, use the gadget and running to the left sandbag, so the projectile will hit the top right sandbag, and you're not taking any damage because you're moved to the left. Don't stay on the middle of the sandbag formation, because their explosive radius is big enough to reach you if you stay in the middle of the sandbag formation. For short, look where the projectile is coming from and then use the gadget. After that, run to the opposite way to avoid the explosion. Now into the next gadget. Ruff's second gadget, Air Support. When this gadget is active, Ruff called 9 small falling rockets to target the nearest opponent from Ruff radius in quick succession. I'm just gonna make it simple. This gadget purpose is not to hit the opponent, because this 9 falling rocket takes forever to fall one by one and the opponent can just walk away from it. This gadget function is more for controlling map area because of its long duration, and I found it quite distracting with the explosion, screen shake, and the sound this gadget made. It's good for keeping opponents away from achieve the main goal of some specific game mode, just like when they trying to pick the gem on gem grab mode. You can use this gadget on their gem carrier to prevent them from taking the gem. Either the gem carrier keep move forward and getting risked to get ambushed, or retreat so your team can secure the gem instead. You can also use this gadget on knockout and both showdown mode. You can use this gadget when the green cloud has appeared and the zone has become very small, so your opponent will lack of space and be forced to move forward to the middle of the map, or get pushed back to the green cloud. And one more mode that can show the potential of this gadget is Brawl Ball mode. You can use this gadget on this mode to perform the same trick as Ruffs Super on Brawl Ball, but a little bit different. Remember that this brawler trick requires two things, destroy walls and knockback. And you know this gadget didn't have one thing, and it's destroy wall requirement. But you can improvise the trick with this gadget. Well, it's the same thing when the opponent is cornered into their goal. You can use this gadget even though this gadget can break any wall that block the goal. But the area this gadget covers is very big, and it takes so long to drop all the falling rockets. And with a small space around the goal spawn, the opponent will have a hard time to dodge the rocket even though it takes a long time. In short, the real function of this gadget is to force the opponent to force back or force to move forward out of their safe zone, especially if they take cover behind a wall. And now, it's time to tell you guys the gear pair that go well with Ruffs. To determine preparing for this gear, I will make it into 3 categories. The first category is very good. The gear include our Gadget Charge gear and Damage gear. The second category is depend on the map. The gear included are Vision gear and Speed gear. And the third category is survivability, and that includes Shield gear and Health gear. From very good category, Gadget Charge gear will give Ruff one extra gadget because both Ruff gadget is very useful for Ruff for defending and controlling the area of the map. And Damage gear is good for Ruff because surprisingly, a lot of players didn't know that Ruff have a very high damage output. And with his power up from his super, his damage output is become very big. So that's why Damage gear is also very good for Ruff. The second category is of course that gear that very useful depends on the map you play. Especially with a map who have a lot of bushes. That's why Vision and Speed gear is an optional gear to use. And the third category is actually for me is good if you play Ruff as a support and use File Promotion Star Power, cause you will always stick around your teammate. And this Health gear and Shield gear help your survivability when supporting your teammate. And now into his next kit, the Hypercharge. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, Ruff didn't have a Hypercharge yet. Well, who knows, in the later update he will get the Hypercharge, so the player will play Ruff more often. While waiting for that moment to happen, how about we predict what kind of Hypercharge Ruff will get? The first thing we know is that when activating Hypercharge, all brawler will get bonus speed, damage and shield upon activation including Ruff. And what makes the Hypercharge different is that the Hypercharge will change the effect of their super. And for Ruff super, I have a few predictions when Ruff got his Hypercharge. The first one is his super area will be increased. Second, his super damage is increased, or could be both his super area and damage increase. Third is his power up from the supply drop will increase too. So when Ruff or his teammate pick up the power up from super when activate the Hypercharge, the bonus max HP and damage output will increase bigger than the normal power up. And the last one is when Ruff manages to hit the opponent with his super, they will be stunned, or maybe they will get burn effect that will reduce their HP every second, or maybe both of the effect. Sounds like a good prediction, right? Overall, many players underestimate Ruff because he's quite hard to use. But for the player who know how to play Ruff correctly, Ruff can be used for a lot of class, from a support, a damage dealer or marksman, and a controller, all in one brawler, and that is Ruff. If you meet a Ruff player, either is a teammate or opponent, there are two possibilities. First, he just learned how to play Ruff and play badly. Second, he is already very good at playing Ruff. There is no in between. The case is same as the Mortis player. Alright everyone, that's all I can tell you about Colonel Ruff, a highly underrated brawler who secretly possesses abilities that many players didn't know about. Whew, this one guide is quite wrong, right? And for the disclaimer, I'm not a professional Brawl Stars player, I'm just a normal average free-to-play player who like playing video games. But I hope you find this guide useful, helpful, and enjoyable. So if there are any misspeaking words, English is not my first language, and if you want to support me, feel free to subscribe and like this video. But if you want to support me right away, you can donate me at the link under the description. So I can make more video like this and increase the quality of my content in the next video. And not only Brawl Star video, but also another video about other video game or something else. So if you guys interested, subscribe and stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching and see you guys later.